how's it going today? Another episode of Bet with the Genius here. A couple of geniuses coming on. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell. Man, we got the $1,500 promo here. Video winners 15 to get that deal. Risk-free $1,500 wager. I'm going to be on tomorrow night on ESPN. Make sure you're listening Saturday morning as well. And going to have all kinds of stuff going on. So let's see. Let me have this ready to go so that when we bring our guest in, plus money, he's ready to go right away. I am going to share the screen quickly because my play today, my number one play today was on the premium site, Norway women. I branched out and took Norway women minus 2.5. In this game, it's 3-0 at halftime, so that's not bad. And right, I think my free play today was Sao Paulo, and that line, it was weird. I have to look through these games today. The Sao Paulo line, it was minus 190, and then all of a sudden, I looked, it was minus 135. So I got the minus point. My video didn't record, so I re-recorded it, and by that time I took Sao Paulo minus 0.75 at the same price as minus 1 earlier. So I took that. I figured, they won 4-2 last leg. They'll probably try to get up early, 1-2 here and end this tie. So I took a little shot on them. I don't know if you like that game or not today, but I figured, they already won on the road, so I'll take them here. I don't know what your thoughts are on that game there early, but how's it going, first of all?
Oh, well, I'm doing great. It's great to be here, breaking down the sport I love. It's nothing better.
Yeah, it's just some interesting games today. The Estudiantes La Plata Fortaleza game. These lines have moved like crazy already all day today, and Sao Paulo now back up to minus 150. Looks like there's been a little bit of action on these games. They're moving all over the place. I don't, maybe I know some of the lines have moved a little bit because of some of the other games from yesterday. That's the these crazy. I didn't even look at these games. I liked Alice Cared a little bit, but Borac Banja Luka was one of the games I gave out. That won pretty easily. Bruno's Magpies, Coops, the teams that were favored by a lot. You see them on here, and they're winning. Dynamo Tbilisi, although lost, but most of the home teams that were favored, won there. So they were crazy games, some of them, but the ones that are tonight are the Copa Sudamericana, Copa Libertadores games. I think we talked about these the other day. Do you have any kind of updates on any of these games that you like today, or not really?
Yeah, I gave out a free play on Estudiantes. I think that they'll probably close it up here at home. They already got the 1-1 draw on the road in the first leg, so all they need is a home win here. They haven't been in great form, but Fortaleza hasn't been in great form either, and Estudiantes has actually been pretty good at home. It seems like they're taking this competition really seriously because in the group stage, they did finish first with the 4-1-1 record, and they were 3-0 at home with 8 goals and 2 allowed in those 3 home matches. So definitely taking this competition seriously. I think that they'll probably get it done here. Fortaleza has been pretty bad on the road lately too. I think they've lost their last 3 straight on the road. So I feel pretty confident that Estudiantes gets it done.
It's interesting that the line is only plus 108. I mean, I don't know if that's. I'm not sure why. 1-1 on the road obviously is, not really. That's almost a win for the road team. To be honest, to go back home at 1-1, you're not down. You just have to win the game and you're through. So, you know, but I'm not gonna ask a lot of questions here. If they're gonna give me
I
plus
think it's
108 here,
because they've lost 3 of their last 4, possibly, but like one was most of those were away from home. The only home one they lost to Newell's, and that was right before the first leg of this competition, which they came out and got a draw. So as far as I'm concerned, like this, they were probably just focused on this match. They got their draw on the road in that first leg, and then they just had thoughts of coming home and let's just win it there.
it's interesting. You look at these. Or did you any of these other games today? Um, interest your? I know the Lannis Independiente is a tough match. Atletico and Olympia Sunshine. Anything on them or not? Probably not really.
Not really. I didn't really look at those ones too much. I was more focused on the weekend. There's actually some pretty good MLS and Brazilian matches coming up. So,
And then just quickly, what we're gonna do. So, what is going on with this big update here? We're gonna look next week. We're gonna start looking at some of the Premier League plays for first week and second week as a little bit of a look ahead. So if anyone is next Thursday, Friday, so if anyone is interested in that, just get your questions in going forward. It's interesting that the MLS has it's a weird schedule again here. They're playing 3 games on Friday, and then
all on Saturday.
Yeah, well, I don't understand.
And then one on Tuesday, and again everybody on Wednesday.
I just you just don't understand. I see. I am a proponent of playing some of these games on Fridays. Spread it out. The Friday 7:30 match, and then the 10 o'clock match. You got the Union and DC United, which used to be a pretty big rivalry. Now the DC United stinks. It's not as big, but then you have the Los Angeles Derby. So I think that's pretty interesting to do that. I think you get some viewers and everything. But I just don't understand why. And then they spread the games out Saturday. You got 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and the different windows. But then there's nothing on Sunday. Sunday a big sports day? Like I don't get it. And then the one Tuesday. But here it is. You got the 3 night games on Friday night. What are your thoughts there on that?
So this first game interests me a little, just because DC is coming off a pretty good performance. They won their first match in a while, 5-3 in Orlando, and they came out. They scored 5 minutes in, and they were leading that game the entire time. I was almost looking at the over in this one, just because it's kind of like it's slightly favored to the over, but both of these teams, like I get Philly plays very good defense, but DC has been so bad. Like even in their win, they still allowed Orlando to score 3 goals. So this is a team that like their defense is just a sieve. Philadelphia, they don't score a lot of goals, but they play their best when they're at home, and that's where they score most of their goals. I would think that they can come out and score some goals on DC here. And DC, coming off that performance, that was the first time they tried, I guess, a new formation, a new lineup, and it seemed to work because they got the win in Orlando. and they scored 5 goals in the process, something that they haven't been doing a lot of. But I think coming off that performance, they're going to have a little bit of confidence. And I think they could break through this Philadelphia defense. So I kind of like the over in this one just because you got a team that, plays their best at home against a bad defense, and then a team that's coming off a great offensive performance. I know they're going up against a tough defense, but Philly's not that great. They've 7 wins and 9 draws this year, so it's not like they're just they're shutting teams out, but are they winning games? No. So this is one where I think DC might get an early goal on them and push Philadelphia to score some goals in this match.
I think the interesting thing here is you look, I mean, DC United is plus 270 to score over 1.5 goals. And, once again, you say the Union score, but the United have been scoring some goals here. And, that's a pretty big number there. DC United scored 23 goals in 16 matches, so they are scoring some goals. Plus 270. I would think that might be worth it. If you think the over here, I would think might be worth like a couple bucks to throw down on this game. Right? Is that correct?
Yeah, and I almost like DC too, just because of the way they played against Orlando. I know Orlando's not a great team, but that was on the road for DC. They weren't playing great before that, and they just came out of nowhere with that performance. And Philadelphia hasn't been playing great either. Like, they're not losing games, but they're also not winning games. And I think DC could get on the board quickly here and force Philadelphia maybe to go on the attack a little bit more. And I think this game could really open up.
Yeah, DC or draw is plus 116. So once again, you're getting 2 of the 3 outcomes here for plus 116. These teams play fairly often, and DC United has in 2 of the last 4 games, including the last time they played, DC United has they won that game 3-1, but they a 2-2 draw back in October of 2020, COVID year, so you got to take that a little bit with a grain of salt. But for this kind of value to get 2 of the 3 results there, it might be worth a shot. LAFC is minus 115 at home against LA Galaxy. The draw is plus 290. The LA Galaxy is plus 270. Once again, you look at the table here. The Galaxy are up to 8th in the overall table. We'll look at the conference here. Obviously the LAFC is flying at the top. LA Galaxy is 4th in the table, 1 less game, 27 points. But LAFC is a really good team, and you're getting them at basically right around even money here. Any thoughts on that game?
I expect there to be goals in that one. I would think. Got a heated rivalry between those two. Like you said, LAFC's top of the table right now. They have the best home record, too, in the MLS. And this is one that obviously the Galaxy should get up for. They haven't been playing great. Now, I know the over is not great. And even the team total for LAFC over 1.5 is something like minus 150. So not a lot of value on the total. But, if you look at the past scores between these two, even this year, the earlier cup match was 3-1. That was a match that I don't think LAFC was necessarily trying for, but I definitely think they'll be focused on this one, especially with Austin FC breathing down their neck after that big win in Colorado on Monday night. So definitely I see goals in this one. Maybe something like both teams to score and over 2.5 if you can get a decent price on that, but I don't even know if they offer. I see minus 125 for that. So that's probably – it's better than the over, and it's better than the team total for LAFC. So that would be in the direction I'm looking at.
Yeah, both teams to score over 2.5 for minus 139, minus 140, something like that. But you probably get it much lower than that as well. I just, these teams play, there's goals all the time. 3-3, 2-1, 1-1, 2-1, 3-1. So there's always goals. I don't know if you're looking at that late game at all. Vancouver and Minnesota.
That one's a tricky one just because of how well Vancouver's been playing versus
they just
Minnesota off 2 wins now.
Yeah. I mean, Vancouver is definitely, they're up to 9th in the table here in the West, and they're Minnesota's, they're even on points. But Vancouver -9 goal difference, but Vancouver, both teams are playing better of late. So Vancouver obviously off the win over LAFC. So to me, it's probably a tricky game there. Vancouver seems to score some goals, but this game, it would be tough for me to handicap. Over 1.5 goals is +112, but I would probably stay away from that game, to be honest. I just give you this real quickly because I'm just gonna, in these games where these women's Euro games, these real bad teams are playing real good teams, I'm just gonna go, because it's a group stage and because it's women's football. See 4-1 here. Can't even believe Northern Ireland scored. It's embarrassing. So I need Norway to score another goal here. But since it's a group stage and you got these teams, England and Norway, these teams are going to have to score as many goals as they can in these games. So I would probably take Spain -2.75. And any of these games where you have these teams that are like -16, 67, I'll just take, Spain's won 5-1 and 5-0 in 2 of the last 3 times they've played. But just a real quick one there. So Brazil Saturday. I guess we'll look at we'll keep going with the MLS since we're already on the page. Saturday has 8,000 games.
Everything you could imagine.
There's an early game. NYCFC's weird team that not necessarily playing very well right now coming into this game against the Revolution team. Let me pull up the table here.
Yeah, the Revolution have been playing poorly lately, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a the NYCFC, all of a sudden you look down and they're at 20, they're only 3 points back of the Red Bulls with 2 games in hand here. So it's not really, this table is crazy a little bit because some of these games have played 19 games. Some of these games have played 18 games. Some of these teams have played 17 games. So which games are you targeting in these? I guess there's the 2 early games. It seems like it's a little bit of a rivalry weekend here, NYCFC, and not really a huge rivalry there. But you got the LA, you got Seattle and Portland, Charlotte, Nashville. There's some of these games. Any of those early games you're looking at?
Well, that was something definitely I noticed too with the rivalries, even though the teams may not be rivals. You got the classic New York, Boston there with New England, and then Seattle and Portland are just
in Dallas, Orlando, and Inter Miami, Chicago, Columbus, Austin. Austin and not really their rivalry. Austin, Atlanta. The 2 South teams. So it seems like they're trying to maybe put all these games on the one weekend, but thought that was interesting.
Yeah, but they definitely missed out on a chance with Montreal and Toronto there. I don't know what they were thinking with the Toronto and San Jose, but
yeah, exactly.
One game I was looking at is your Austin FC, man. I don't know how.
Again.
I'm getting +300 right now, and I don't know how you can give that team that line after Monday's performance.
This is just for if I'm a bookmaker at this point, and I've gotten burned on them 4 of the last 5 away games. Why would you ever put them at +280 again? Like, why? Like, once again, Atlanta United may win the game, but there's no way I am putting my money on Austin FC on the road until they lose 3 or 4 in a row. There's just no way. I mean, you're up $1,300. If you're up plus 30, you're up like 13 units or whatever, however you want to say whatever. If you have bet Austin over the last 5 road matches, you're up plus 1,300 right now. And they're plus 280 again, plus 300 again. So here we go again. And they're playing a team, Atlanta United, who's not any good. And Austin's good. I don't get it.
I don't get it either, especially when, Austin was down 2-0 to Colorado early. But even when they were down 2-0, I was watching that game, and not at a single point did I think Colorado had that match in the bag. I felt like Austin was going to come back. Now, I didn't want to take them at the plus 2,600, but as soon as they scored that first goal to make it 2-1, I hammered that plus 1,300. I just put 20 on it instead of 10, and said that makes up for the plus 2,600. And I'm not going to cry over $20 if they don't come back. But sure enough, they tied it before halftime, and then they came out and scored right after half, 3-2. And I think they even scored a 4th goal that got taken back.
And they ended up.
Yeah, they ended up getting a red card after that, and then had to play 30 more minutes and still hold off the lead in Colorado in that elevation. So this line baffles me. At this point, Austin FC's got to be a blind bet at plus 300 on the road. Like, you just have to take it.
Here's the other thing. I mean, when you start to, I'm gonna just maybe take a look at this just because. Best in Texas, Austin FC minus 125. Austin FC is plus 700 to win the West, and they're not even in the top 4 picks. They're behind Montreal. They're plus 1,600 to win the the MLS Cup right now. I mean, LAFC and Austin are basically the same right now. LAFC is plus 325. Obviously this is Gareth Bale's coming and whatever, but like Austin FC is plus 1,600 right now. I just don't understand really the disrespect this team is getting. And, once again, this is a second-year team. Like, people still kind of think that they're, a team from, but this is a second-year team here. So, I just don't get it.
Yeah, and you could throw the recent form away and say, oh, well, maybe they're just a bad team, but they're not. They're second in the league. If you look, they're 2 points behind LAFC, who's leading the MLS, and the records are almost identical. Literally, Austin, they've played the same number of games, and Austin has 1 more draw, 1 less win. Not to mention Austin on the road, now they have the best record. They're tied with the Red Bulls, but they have a 6-1-3 record on the road, tied for 19 points this year with the Red Bulls. That is just unbelievable. They're a great team, second in the league. They're great on the road, and they're playing this Atlanta team that, like you said, they're not really that good. They've lost 2 of their last 3. The 2 they lost were on the road. But if you look at their recent home matches, like they win 2-0 game against Miami, where they scored a goal in the 4th minute, and then Miami got a red card by the 30th minute. So that match was over, even if Miami wanted to come back. Then they had a friendly game that they won with Pachuca. Doesn't mean anything. Then they lose at home to Columbus, and they tied 2-2 with the Revolution. So this team is not even playing that great at home. So I don't see at all why they would be the favorite as they are.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop questioning. Yeah,
and they're a minus favorite too, which hurts.
It's been to the, I have long stopped since questioning this stuff and just kept, I'm gonna keep putting money on Austin FC and keep putting money in my account so I can keep, eating and stuff. Like, keep, it's crazy. I don't even know. Just like you said, you bet it blind. Hell, man, Austin's plus 280, plus 300. I don't even care. I don't care who they're playing. They're not even playing a good team. I don't care who they're playing. Good team, bad team, whatever. I'm taking them, especially on the road. Any of these other kind of early-ish game, 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, let's stick with the road doggies. Nashville's another one that I don't understand. I get Charlotte is has actually, like, I think the fourth best home record in the MLS, but they're not a good team in general. Just because they're 6-0-3 at home, like those have been their only 6 wins this year. All 6 came at home, and they're playing a Nashville team that, again, Nashville has, I think, the third best away record in the MLS. Yeah, they have the third best, or technically second best. Oh, I guess third. They're tied because Austin and the Red Bulls are tied for first. But Nashville, man, they got 17 points on the road, 5-2-4. So they're right there with Austin. This is a great road team. Yeah, they're going up against a good home team, but Charlotte just lost at home 1-0 to Austin, who one of the best teams in the MLS right now, one of the best teams on the road. I think Nashville is a much better team than Charlotte, and I think at that price, anything over plus 200, you got to take them on the road here.
Yeah. Let's see what we got. Feels like soccer is the worst sport to bet on. Look, I mean, no. I mean, compared to what, baseball? I mean, I don't know. You bet the Yankees. The Yankees are going to lose 50-something games this year, and they're going to think the Yankees are going to lose 50 games as minus 300 favorites. So, I don't know. Who knows? How about, once again, like the Red Bulls going on the road to Cincinnati? I don't know if you're looking at that game, but that seems like an interesting game to me. Red Bulls at plus 145 here. I know Montreal at home minus 129. They've cooled off a little bit, although you look around again and they're still like right there, fighting at the top of the table here. They just give up a lot of goals. Either of those games interest you?
No, I wasn't really looking too much into the Cincinnati Red Bulls. But Cincinnati, I think, is a tricky team, actually, because they used to be the laughingstock of the MLS.
Man, they're not.
I think they've improved a lot over the last few years. So mainly over the last year or two. But yeah, that Cincinnati is a tough one, especially being at home there. The Red Bulls have been good. They've had their chances on the road too, but I don't know if I would trust them in this road situation.
So you got you got the one late game, RSL and Colorado Rapids. I mean, are any of these other games at all you kind of like, or really or just kind of focused on these early games?
The early ones kind of looked better just because of all the value there that's to offer. These late games are kind of, Colorado, they're coming off a bad win, or not a bad win, sorry, a bad loss at home that they probably should have won when you have an early 2-0 lead like that. So, and RSL, they've been really good at home this year. They don't allow a lot of goals there, and they've been winning a lot of their home matches. So that might be one that I lean towards RSL. Not a strong play on it, but I think Salt Lake should probably get the job done with that one.
So, Big Factsville says he has Ponte versus CSA, Junior versus Patriotas. Boy, I guess that's Brazil B. I know the one is Brazil B. Which is interesting that they have like those games. Is that today? I don't even know if that's today.
The CSA one is.
Oh yeah, CSA and Ponte Preta. So yeah, that's interesting that they offer a game like that. CSA minus 106, and where are they? Let's look at CSA table. CSA is 617th. Ponte Preta is an 18th. Yikes. It's a bad game to bet, to be honest. Local bookie, yeah. Look, if you can look, I'll tell you, if you can find like if you've been listening to the show since I don't know if you came on just recently, Big Facts Bill, like this Austin FC team in the MLS, 4 of the last 5 games has on the road has cashed at plus 380, plus 260, plus two. They're up like 13 units plus 1,300 over their last 5 road matches. So there are some games you could bet. Like, I'm not going to tell you to bet, all these games, but, you'll see like we'll go through and we'll find, a couple games on each weekend to look at. If your book has Brazilian A, we're going to look right now at some of these Brasilia Serie A matches here. As he's a plus money is a Brazil expert. So do you have any of these games Saturday you're looking at here in Brazil?
Yes, for sure. There actually was one. I'm just pulling it up.
Yeah, look, it's interesting. You can. It's interesting when I post yep, and it goes into like everything. Yeah, there's a lot of value in these games. I'm a favorite guy. Like I like to bet favorites, but this Austin FC team, and they should be favorites. They're just the books have them not correctly. We can't explain what the deal is now. They're not correctly whatever they are. They're not at the right price. They're always undervalued. But I'm gonna take it and run. It'd be like getting Garrett Cole tonight at plus 200 against the Red Sox. It's never happened. They're in Boston and Garrett Cole's not plus 200. Like the Yankees are favored, right? So, which of these Saturday games you got Fluminense and Sierra with another big win yesterday. These teams are all playing in South America in some tournament. Anything for the Saturday ones?
Yeah, so I was looking at that Fluminense team total over 1.5 at even money right now. I think there's a lot of value in that just because Fluminense has been playing great at home recently. They've been crushing teams. They're coming off of a 4-0 win there. They've been scoring a lot of goals in their home matches. They've scored 4 goals, 2 goals, and 2 goals in their last 3 at home alone, winning all 3 of those matches. And, this Sierra team, they're coming off a great performance in the league so far. They've been playing well, but in their recent league matches, they've actually drawn their last 5 straight. They lost a cup match mixed in there, and they have 2 wins, both coming against the strongest in the Sudamericana.
They look very like they dominated that tie. I think people were a little bit surprised that tie was so easy, really, because yesterday, I mean, it should have been 3-0 at halftime, and they put the ball in the net 3 different times, and it was actually, it was 3-0 on the night, but they had to play a thing, but both these teams I think played, so not too much of an advantage there, but yeah.
No, actually, I don't think Fluminense. They were just playing a league match against
that's right.
Corinthians. So and also, I think Fluminense, they have a shot maybe to even get back into Sudamericana for next year so far with the way they're playing right now. So I think that they're going to be motivated to win this one. They've won their last 4 straight matches overall and their last 3 at home. This Sierra team, they played great against the strongest. It seems like they were very focused on that match, and that's a competition they want to win. But at the same time, they have been performing well in the league. They lost a cup match, and they have 5 draws in their last 5 league matches. So I think that they've probably not as focused on that. Now, coming off of that match, they might be resting some players here, and especially going on the road in Fluminense. I know Sierra has been playing great defense, but I think Fluminense is going to score goals. They've been averaging basically 3 goals per match in their last 3 at home, and I think you're going to see him score.
Yeah, plus 110. I have him at plus 110, so over 1.5 goals, plus 110 team total. So, Big Fact says, he started shifting towards betting the underdogs, and it's been working out well from the heavy favorites. Yeah, look, I mean, and what sometimes we'll do here is instead of maybe saying the game, we'll look at a team total. If I think Fluminense is going to score 2 goals or more, I don't really, at plus 110, I don't really care if the game ends 4-4, 5-5, 3-3, whatever, 2-2. It doesn't matter to me. I just need them to score 2 goals. So, and that's something that they've been doing a lot lately, and so it's just something maybe different way to bet. Anything on that Goiás Paranense?
I think the line's a little off there. I think Paranense should be
plus 160, right?
Yeah, I think they should be favored a little bit more there. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, just because we talked on the last show that I was on here that how well they've been playing in general. They were dominated by Palmeiras, still came out with a 2-0 win in that one, and even though they were dominated, they still managed to get the win. Their goalie's been playing great. They came out against Libertad. They almost lost that one, but they scored a late goal to just advance and not have to go through the extra time. So they're a team that's just been in great form, and Goiás has not been playing well at all. I don't really understand the line too much on that one, but it's one I definitely think that Atletico PR should probably be favored for.
He has a question. He says, how do you handicap games in general? I've talked about how, I'll look at, I use, the form guide and stuff like that. I watch a ton of games. I'm, mostly the Premier League. When that gets in, I basically, I've said, yesterday, I watch parts of every single game every weekend, just highlights, whatever. But I watch I watch 4 or 5 matches every weekend as well, full matches. But, I'll sometimes look in the table and say, all right, this team is in second and they're playing a team in 16th with a terrible goal difference. And whatever, Austin FC is somebody you say, all right, they win on the road. There's just different ways to do it. I'm not sure, like when you're trying to find a game to wait, like what's your go-to thing to try to find maybe an edge for some of this? Is it just kind of looking at the teams in the table or like form guide? Or
so I like to look at a lot of recent form. I do like I take that heavily into consideration, because to me it doesn't matter how great a team has been all year in the standings. If they lost 3 straight, they're not playing well right now, and nothing's going to fix that until they actually break out of it. But it all depends on the situation too. Like I look for certain spots, and again with soccer, it's a lot of just knowing the teams in general and the histories of the teams, because a lot of times I look at the game and I have an initial reaction. I look at the 2 teams and I say, okay, that's a team that scores a lot, and that's a team that's really defensive, or maybe that's a team where both score. This one should go over. And if the line doesn't match what I'm already thinking, then I'll look into the game more and see, is there a reason why the line's not matching that, or is this just straight up value on the game?
I think the thing too is, these better teams, when you're taking these leagues, like these Brazilian teams here are all playing. The better ones are all playing in the Copa Libertadores and Copa Sudamericana knockout stage. So they're playing, and the Brazilian league plays 50 games a week. So these teams are playing game upon game upon game upon game. So sometimes that comes into factor. Listen, they played a lot of games. They're playing a team that hasn't played as much. Maybe they're fatigued. That's for the Premier League and other leagues as well. I think that goes into it. So sometimes Manchester City or Liverpool. Manchester City's a little bit more immune to this stuff because they have basically 3 squads full of players. That everybody's stunned. They keep winning the Premier League. Their second team would finish in the top 4. They're rich. That's what they do. But like, sometimes an Arsenal, they'll play Thursday. Well, they haven't been because they haven't been in Europe. But like this year, they'll play in Europe. They'll play in Eastern Europe somewhere, and then they'll come home on Sunday, and they're playing a team. You're like, yeah, they should win this game. But sometimes you're like, I'm going to take a chance on the other team, maybe double chance, draw, and thing because maybe they're a little tired. Maybe these guys played. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it as well. You don't always just back the really big name teams. There could be some other stuff like that. So Sunday, there's 6 games in Brazil. I see Palmeiras, minus basically almost even money there. Santos basically even money at home. Curitiba even money against terrible Juventude. Let's see if I can pull up which an early 10 a.m. Ooh, I don't see that too often here. 10 a.m., 3 p.m., 5. Any of these games you like?
Yeah, for sure. So let's start with hold on. So this Flamengo game interests me a little bit. They have been playing so well lately.
And they dominate Corinthians, by the way. They've won 5 straight head-to-head.
Yeah, so this is one Flamengo, man, like they've been dominating, and they've had to play in the Libertadores. They won their match 7-1 yesterday. They just absolutely demolished Tolima, coming off of a 1-0 win on the road. So this is a team that's scoring goals, man. And the Corinthians, so they advanced in the Copa Libertadores, and they beat Boca Juniors. And the same thing, basically, it was like the exact same script as leg 1. The home team gets a penalty kick in the first half. The penalty kick is stopped. We drag out a 0-0 draw, but this time there had to be a winner. So we end up going to penalties where Corinthians wins at 6-5.
It's amazing. If they made a penalty, they made every penalty in the penalty. If they made one of the 2 they had, they would have, went through easily. You see Palmeiras 5-0 yesterday. I kind of knew that. The only thing with that is they scored 3 goals and, they scored 4 goals in 10 minutes in the second half, but they scored 3 goals in 5 minutes. Like, the tie was over at that point. I mean, it was like, it was 4-0 on aggregate. And they could have just relaxed, and then all of a sudden they just go boom, 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 and score all the goals. So it's sometimes why you never know, how those things are going to. Yesterday's games were a little crazy there. So Sarsfield beat River Plate too. How about that?
Yeah, and that was one we mentioned where I didn't think River Plate was just going to win because they were at home when those 2 teams play in the same league. So not really a shocking one there. They advanced off the first leg, 1-0 win.
Is it always a good idea? So Abdi says, eye test can tell you a lot of teams. Yeah, look, I'm real big with that. You got to watch the games. Is it always a good idea to be on the sharp side for each game? He follows the Action Network for sharp money movement. I mean, the sharps are the sharps for a reason. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we're sharps here.
We've moved the line before that cut.
Hey, big facts, man. We were talking about a game. I don't know what league was that. Serie B. It was
the Copa do Brazil.
Yeah, we were talking about the Copa de Brazil. Do you bet the CFL football? We were talking about the Copa de Brazil game, and then all of a sudden the line moved, and they must have been watching our show. So, we move lines around here. So It's a little crazy, but I this game tonight, Calgary. He's in Canada. Calgary's playing Edmonton. I know Edmonton stinks. I think so.
I'm Canadian and I don't watch the CFL. I'm more of an NFL and college guy. I mean, I'm pretty sure Calgary is the better team. They've had a history of like long term
Yeah, I would say that's
success
probably a
in the
pretty good
CFL.
play there. I know last week Edmonton beat Hamilton, but just because what's his name, LJ got that correct. So any of the Palmeiras, Santos.
You know what? Just going back to the eye test, I definitely do look at the eye test for sure. One team that I noticed was really, really good in the Champions League qualifiers is Dynamo Batumi. I watched them play Slovan Bratislava, and I know now in the second leg, Slovan Bratislava is getting kicked out. Dynamo Batumi was dominating them. They got a red card in the first half, and they still almost scored multiple times on Slovan Bratislava. They could have won. They would not let up in that match, and that was on the road.
6 cards in that game. How crazy is that?
Oh, it was a wild one for sure. At one point, like near the end, 3 of those cards came right in the 90th minute because there's about 2 minutes of stoppage time left, and one of the Batumi players just went down trying to kill the time, and the Slovan Bratislava player picked him up. And then the goalie got involved, so they ended up giving the goalie a card, and they gave the 2 players, the one guy that lifted up the other player, and the other guy one for diving. But and then what I didn't understand was they wasted the last 2 minutes of the game with all that, and then the ref blew the whistle without even adding those extra 2 minutes on.
He was probably just fed up.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I can guarantee
this Batumi team here. I mean, we could look at it right now. Big Facts wants to know if you're betting 50 grand a game and how much you're betting on a game here. No, I will not be betting 50,000 on a game. I've won. I don't even know. I had North Carolina to win the East last year as an 8 seed. So, had that. I won 1,500 on that, but they don't even have the lines up for this yet. So we got to wait for that.
But yeah, I definitely think Batumi, you're going to see Batumi win that one. That one's going to be in Georgia. Oh, you're going to come away with that one.
That's the thing about this. I talked a lot about these, these teams that people knew, and those teams that people know didn't do so well in these games. So, I think, Ferencváros and Sheriff going home have a decent shot, but
I was watching those too, and it took me a while because I had taken that parlay with Cluj, and Cluj screwed that the day before.
Yeah, yep.
And then again, I was on Ferencváros the next morning because that was a 10 a.m. match. And when they tied 0-0, I started to look at it and I said, okay, these away teams clearly aren't trying. And it took me, obviously, till the later games to figure that out. But I finally made up for it because then I said to myself, I said, okay, I think Sheriff Tiraspol is probably the better team. But are they going to come to play on the road? The other team is not going to want to give up a goal. And Sheriff's probably just going to come with the same mentality as Cluj and Ferencváros. Let's dominate the possession and just play defensively and not try to score, and then we can go back home and win that one. So I was able to cash a nice plus 850 0-0 correct score there.
Nice.
But then I had the correct score 1-0 at plus 650 for the Slovan Bratislava, and I thought it was going to be good when they got the red card. But the more I watched the match in the second half, it was almost like the red card wasn't even there because Batumi just kept getting chance after chance. And that's when I said, all right, they're the bet in the second leg.
Yeah, I think sometimes you can figure that out, early. And as soon as that line goes live, you just kind of start to, put that on there. Any other plays here on any of these games in Brazil?
Yeah, I was looking at Botafogo just because, Cuiabá is pretty junk, and Botafogo's got one of the better records on the road in the Brazilian league, believe it or not. Botafogo's second in the league at 4-2-2 with 14 points. I mean, they're not great, but they're definitely winning on the road. They're coming off a road win over Red Bull Bragantino in their last match, and they've actually won their last two on the road. They beat Internacional in that one game. I think I remember that International was even leading 2-1 in that one, and then they came back and won 3-2 late in that game. So I think there's a little bit of value on Botafogo at the plus 200, just with the way they've played on the road this year, how bad of a team Cuiabá is in general.
Yeah, it's where's Cuiabá? Yeah, they're not really. They have one win at home. And Botafogo, yeah, it's an interesting play at plus. Where is it there? Plus, let's see what the double chance is. It's a little high, but yeah, Botafogo plus 220. Definitely could be worth a play there.
Yeah, and I think you just got a shot because like Cuiabá is the type of team where they're coming off a win in Avai, but other than that, like they hadn't scored 3 goals in 3 straight matches before that. So this is not a team that's great, and I think easily Botafogo could win this on a fluke 1-0, or even just score and probably defend the lead.
Bill's asking about plus money. Does plus money agree with you on Sao Paulo? They got me once. Do you like Sao Paulo against Mineiro in that game, or like is that kind of a no-go game?
Does he mean the Sao Paulo today match, or is that the weekend one against Mineiro?
Oh, Sao Paulo plays today. That's right.
Yeah, in the Sudamericana. Because he says, do I agree
Oh
with
yeah,
you?
because I picked that today. Yes.
Yeah, no, I definitely think, I mean, Sao Paulo is the better team there, and they've already got the 4-2 aggregate lead. But see, I don't look at the Sudamericana as much as I look at the Libertadores, but I would say Sao Paulo's pretty good. I think like they
here's what
they won 3 of the last 4.
This is what turned me a little bit in this game. Like I looked at these games yesterday. Flamengo comes in, 1-1 and just buries them 7-1. Where are the rest of these games? Sierra was already leading 2-1 and buried them 3-0, and it should have been more. What was the other game? Palmeiras could have just the tie's over, and they just buried them. Like the Brazilian league, it's just I don't care who they're playing. The Brazilian league is just a lot better. So I just think at minus, I think there's a better chance the game is like 2-0 or even at minus 0.75. I took them at minus 0.75 or close to like minus 110, whatever. If it's 1-0, whatever. I just, they could cruise probably tonight to a, to a 2-0 win and probably not really break a sweat. Could the game, it could be, but like, I just think they're much, they won 4-2 on the road. So clearly they're the better team. And, if they felt like it today, they could win probably 6-0. Will they? No, probably not. But, 2-0, 3-0, even 1-0, if you're getting a 0.75, you're making money. So
you mentioned the line movement on that game earlier. And I think maybe what has the line moving is the fact that they got 3 red cards in that first leg. They still came away with the 4-2 win, but I guess they were up 3-0 before they got a card, and then they slowly they got 1 card and allowed they allowed a goal, then they got a red card, then they got another red card, allowed a second goal, but it took that second goal the second goal came in the 85th minute, so they had already been playing with a red card for about like 30 minutes there, and they were playing with 2 red cards for another 15 on top of that. So, and then they got the red card after that. But I think like maybe they look at that. I don't know if those 3 players are going to be unavailable for this match, most likely, but again, that was on the road. And when you're up 3-0 and start getting red cards handed out, you're just thinking defense. So, yeah, obviously, when you're down 2-3 men, they're going to come back and score a few goals on you. But I think I think that that's probably the play tonight. They're going to come out and they're going to want, and definitely from what we saw from Flamengo and the other powerhouses in the Brazilian league, this is what they care about. It doesn't matter that you're up 4-2 and you have the 2-goal advantage. They want to win, so they're going to come out and blow them out 3-0. So I think that Sao Paulo is the way to go in that one. And, the fact that Universidad was down, where you're playing a team that's down 2 men and you can't score some more goals to try and claw that one back.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. If that was Sao Paulo, if that was reverse and Sao Paulo was the home team and you gave 2 red cards out to the other team, I guarantee they probably score 3 goals in 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Definitely. And yes, about the NBA game, WNBA, I'm not real big on those games tonight. I like the Yankees -1.5.
Take the Mariners.
You like the Mariners that tonight?
Yeah, man. I'm from the area, so I've been watching this Blue Jays team close, and their pitching is so stretched thin right now. And it all happened because they had a doubleheader on Saturday. I actually went to that game.
Yeah.
I went to that game, and Gaussman, he got hit by a hit. Somebody hit the ball, and it went right off his ankle, like 100 and something miles, whatever. So he left after 2 innings. Then he used the bullpen for that game. Then they had the second game of a doubleheader that night that was scheduled to be a bullpen. Then they go to Oakland the next day. Alek Manoah, they couldn't even get like 6 innings out of because he started giving up runs. That was probably his worst start of the season, too. He's a great pitcher. Then you had Yusei Kikuchi pitch the next night. Absolute gas can. Had to take him out, I think, after like not even 3 innings. Jose Barrios was the only one that gave you innings last night. And even then, man, they got lucky to squeak away with a 2-1 win. The Mariners have been hot. I think they've won 8 of their last 10 or something like that. Then they're on a roll. They're at home here. I think you got a major advantage just with pitching. The Blue Jays, they finally put a lineup. They've kept that line off the board all day, and I think they just must have put it up in the last hour because before we started the show, it wasn't there. And again, like it's not even a listed pitcher for the Blue Jays. So tell me who's pitching tonight. It was supposed to be Gaussman, and they don't even have somebody to fill in for them. They're already taking guys from the bullpen, and trust me, they would take Kikuchi out of the rotation if they could. But he has to now stay in the rotation because their bullpen is so stretched thin. They have nobody. And if you take Kikuchi out of the rotation and put him in the bullpen, you still have nobody to start games for you. So look for them to make some moves before the All-Star break, specifically with pitching. But until they make those moves, like they're either going to be pitching with minor league guys or they're just like so distraught with injuries. They're just going to have to throw guys out there who are going to pitch bad games.
And there you go. I like the Dodgers -1.5 tonight against the Cubs.
Cubs are garbage.
And Gonsolin is nasty.
Oh yeah.
Mark Leiter is 2-2 with a 4.85. Gonsolin's 10-0, 1.54 ERA. So I'm all over that game. I think they win that game pretty easily, and I like the Yankees with Garrett Cole tonight. So, all right. So that's basically it for today. I'm gonna be back tomorrow, talking a little soccer and all kinds of stuff. Maybe Dre comes on. I'm on the Braves run line and Orioles run line tonight. All right.
Oh, the Orioles, I was going to mention too, actually, man. Another team, they've been hot. If you have blind bet the Orioles every single game this year, you're something up like 12 units. And at home alone, you're up just like 8 units, even though they have a losing record. There's 6 games below 500. They're 4 games above 500 at home. They just swept the Rangers. I think the Orioles is a great play.
There you go. All right, so we will be here again tomorrow, 4 to 5. So make sure you check in, like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that stuff. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.